Hey everybody, Big Pete here from at 850 Armor Works. In this video, we're going to be going over the trimming and pretty much just the trimming and how everything should look for the cod piece, the butt plate, the back plate, and the abdominal section. All of these pieces are pretty easy. All we're gonna, at least for the butt and the cod piece, we're not gonna leave any return edging off of this. So I'm gonna show you guys a different method for doing these. Now I haven't trimmed any of these at all. You can go ahead and give these a quick trim if you'd like. I'm gonna give just a couple pieces of really quick trim with some shears, so I can show you this method. If you don't ever want a return edge on something, this works really well. It's fairly easy, and you don't need any major tools other than a razor blade. And a pair of shears. So I'm just going to cut off this edge right here because the lip that's on this right here, you won't be able to do what I want to do with that lip on. So just go ahead and cut that off however you want to. Normally I'd take this over to the bandsaw, but I just want to show you guys kind of how you can do it at home. And the cod piece has really good lines in it to show you kind of where it needs to be. So we're going to be using those here in a second. Alright, now that I got it all trimmed out, I just took off that edge right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a razor blade. I can't find my big one, so I'm going to be using my small one. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to trace right along this line right here. So I'm going to just trace down that whole thing, scoring it all the way around. And as I do that, as I score this thing, I'm going to go back and then use what's called the scoring and snapping method. So this is the first step to scoring and snapping is, you guessed it, scoring. So we'll go ahead and score all the way around. And I'm doing this from the inside because there's a perfect line on the inside that'll allow you to trim to, and it will give you absolutely no return edge on it. Now the reason you don't want any return edge on the cod and the butt plate are because it's going to be riding on some sensitive areas and you don't really want any binding to happen there. So I just did one side real quick to show you, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a couple reliefs. Now you have to cut reliefs along the whole side that you're going to be snapping, especially when it's on a curved surface, because scoring and snapping does not work on curved pieces. It has to be straight or fairly straight or just really small. So we're just going to cut reliefs all the way down from where we cut, since the cod is curved. Alright, now that I have reliefs cut along the whole side, make sure you don't snip too far so you don't actually go into the cod. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it and snap it right off. See how easy that is? Comes right off. Oh, and if you have a little binding point, you can always cut another relief. There. There's extremely negligible, if not no, return edge on this now. You're going to want to clean up these edges when you score and snap them. They won't always be perfect. I mean, you kind of can do it, but just a little bit of sandpaper will clean those edges up real quick. Like I said, you don't want any points for binding on the cod and the butt, because it will be most uncomfortable when you're out there. And that piece didn't quite clip off the way I wanted it to, so I'm just going to go back and trim it. So you could do this with a sander if you wanted to. This is just a really, really easy method to get everything off with. Even with power tools and everything else that I have available to me, I still enjoy this method most when I don't want a return edge on something, because it gives you just a really nice, clean edge. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this all the way around the cod piece. I'm gonna do that on the butt plate except for this edge. So if you're looking at it straight on, I'm gonna leave a little bit of return edge along here, but the rest of it I'm gonna cut from the inside. With the back plate, we're gonna go ahead and give it a rough trim, but really you want, you know, maybe a 1/4 inch or so along this, but this is all that you need right here that's raised from the surface, and then just cut that guy straight. There's a decent line in here you can kind of see, and then so we're going to cut that out right there. And then the abdominal section is really easy again. We're not going to leave any return edges on the top or the sides, and I'm going to leave just a really small return edge here on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will show you guys when that is done. Alright, so I got everything done with. Everything is trimmed out, sanded, everything looks good. Like I said, the cod piece has 0 return edges on it. I sanded all the any rough parts down, especially around here. Those are all sanded. The back plate does have a return edge. It is, if I can find my measuring tape, I'll tell you exactly how big I made it, but I believe it's about 1/8 of an inch is what I made it. Obviously you can make it however big you want. I made it about 1/4 of an inch. So that's about 1/4 inch all the way around, except for obviously on the back. You'll figure it out, but about 1/4 inch. If it's 1/8 of an inch, if it's a little bit bigger, that's totally fine. We got the butt plate cut out. Butt plate has 0 return edges along all of these surfaces here. And most of the surfaces here, I left a little bit of a divot here and here just so it gives it a little more rigidity. You can see right there, just right on the back. And then the abdominal section, 0 return edging right in here. Maybe 1/8 of an inch right up in here. You can kind of see my return edging there, and then it really fades off around the sides. 0 return edging right here. Very minimal here if you want to leave it on or not. You know, I'd say no more than 1/8 of an inch if you leave on any on here. And we will go ahead and set those aside until we start strapping. And I'll put a video in there. If you're not already following me, go ahead and give me a follow. If you're not following 850 Armor Works, there's a lot of cool projects going on right now with the Han Solo movie coming out soon. So go ahead and check them out. I'll put a link below. And stay tuned for the next video where we'll be going through more of the Adult Death Trooper. Thanks.